have something that you particularly wanted to talk about today?
Just my children when they were growing up,
Okay.
and the things they were involved in over in Rancho.
Okay.
They were both born there in Rancho. Both of them were born over on Riesling before we moved to Zimpendale. And Lori was very athletic and participated in a lot of athletics. And Cheryl was Cheryl. That's my daughter that had the hearing handicap.
Oh.
She's the oldest one. She had meningitis when she was 14 months old. And but she came along, did a lot of extra schooling for the hearing handicap, and I think I was more protective of her than I was of the other girl, but the other girl was just like her dad, so. And she saves well. She's very conservative and I love them both, but they are different. And let's see, Lori went to UC Davis to college, and Cheryl went 2 years at American River, and then fell in love and moved away because she fell in love with a serviceman. And they moved to Arkansas, and I went back there when their first son was born. I don't know, I think they'd been married about 4 years. And then she got pregnant again, and they came down to Las Vegas, and he worked in Las Vegas. And the other one, I went when he was born, or just after he was born. And my husband was very grandfatherly. He loved them both and told them both if they didn't, the one would hit the other one, the older one would, and he'd say, someday he's going to grow up and he's going to be bigger than you. And sure enough, it happened. He could get his revenge if he wanted to, but he's not. He's a sweet boy. I love them both. He just graduated from Clemson in May of last year, and he's working for GE. He's all over the country. In fact, he's back there in all that snow trying to get from one city to work to another city to work and back to another city to work. He's got a girlfriend in Denver, but he doesn't get back there very often. Because I guess with GE, I'm not familiar with what they do with their interns, but he's an intern for General Electric. And he goes all over to different places and different things that they do, so that he's an engineer, and he'll eventually. And then the other one is in Michigan. Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. He's managing food places, restaurants. He went to South Carolina University and graduated from there. And I was pleased that they both got an education and now it's terrible. I wouldn't want to have a child trying to get an education now. It's so expensive. And I just heard last night they're going to quit. They're going to cut off the number of California students that they're going to enter into college, and they're going to take more out-of-state students. What's that for? Too bad.
So Sandy, you have 2 children, 2 girls,
Uh-huh.
and 2
Grandchildren.
that are 2 boys.
Yeah. The other girl has dogs and cats and horses. In fact, she had to put her horse down just recently, and that was kind of sad. It was sad for me, but she buried her out where her dad is, where some of his ashes are, so he liked the horse. In fact, she came to us one day. She back in Rancho. She was living down in San Luis Obispo, and she came and said, "Dad, I want you to be free tomorrow. We're gonna go. I want to take you someplace and show you something." So she took her up to Auburn to a ranch and showed her the horse that she bought. And she said, "Now you don't have to give me any more plastic horses at Christmas," because that's all she wanted for Christmas every year was a horse. And we couldn't, when they had the stables around the corner down on, Cordova Lane, down beyond where all those houses are now, there was a stable there when we moved there, and palm trees along the driveway, and I can't remember the name of the people though, but it was definitely different than it is now. It wasn't covered with houses, but from then on she wanted a horse for Christmas, and she ended up getting one for Father's Day.
So cute. We're getting our grandchild number 12 pretty soon.
Oh my goodness.
Advice? Sounds like your kids have grown up to be wonderful grandchildren. You got any
Yeah,
advice for
they
me?
are both.
Anything to tell me on what?
Just love them. That's all you can do. Sometimes you don't love what they do, but as long as you keep them on the generous side, the side of caring and loving, that's all I ever did. Except Marvin used to tell Corey, "When you get big enough, you're going to take care of him, aren't you?" The little one, he was a lot shorter, but he grew up later to be taller and even more muscular than his brother. Andrew, that does the restaurants, you'd think he'd have a little pounds on him, skinny as a rail.
So he doesn't eat the food.
No. Yeah, he does eat it. But he started, when he was in college, he delivered food on a bicycle all over Columbia.
That'll do it.
And it's, like this, on a bicycle. And he's just a skateboard freak too, loved that. Broke a few bones.
He's my skateboarder here.
Well, they could be doing something worse than that. They could be out driving a car into people or doing damage elsewhere. So, how many?
We're getting number 12.
12.
Yeah. I like your advice. Be generous and love them.
Just love them. And see, you don't have to do the disciplining, the strong discipline. You can be gentle discipline. But the parents have to do their job too. And my son-in-law and my daughter did get well with the boys.
What's been your favorite part of being a grandma?
Having them call me. Especially now that they're older. I text too.
Oh, good.
So I text him quite often. The one that's moving around, if I know where he's at, or I ask him, "Where are you today?" Well, I'm in 7 feet of snow. He had to go to Boston during that one bad snow here recently. But he's back in Pittsburgh. So.
Cool.
And being here has given me the relief that I don't have to tend to a house. I don't have to, they do I have a lady who comes in and vacuums and dusts, and I don't care about it. It changes your life. It makes you realize that physical things, especially when you start to get old and fall apart, they're more important than stuff. you know. Now, I brought that chair, for example, was my mother's. It was at her kitchen desk, and I liked it, so I brought that with me. I brought this with me from my living room, and then of course all my red hats. Can't get rid of them. I only belong to one now. Bodacious broads.
What that means. I don't quite understand completely what the red hat.
There's no rules.
There's no rules.
You just have fun.
You wear the red hat and have a great time.
Wear the purple clothes and the red hat, which don't. The poem is somewhere. I've got it around here somewhere on the wall. That when I grow old, I'll wear purple and a red hat that don't match, and do silly things if I want to. And we do. We just go dinner, lunch. Some people go to the ice thing out at the arena as in a group. Since I had to give my license up, I haven't done a lot of that stuff. But, well, I haven't given my license up. I just don't drive. I got another, excuse me, 4 years on my driver's license. But I'm not going to drive.
Yeah.
I can't see.
How do you feel about having to give up driving?
It bothered me. Yeah. But you know what? Giving that up is less hurtful than hurting somebody else by not operate a motor vehicle in a safe manner. Right. Of course, I was with Motor V, and I knew. I knew why. You know what was reasonable and what you should do. Mm-hmm. Some people just, oh no, I can't give up my driving. Well, you have to if you don't want to take a chance on hurting somebody or killing yourself. Of course, that wasn't my reasoning. My reasoning was I didn't want to hurt somebody else.
It would be hard to live with, wouldn't it? It would be hard to live with if you ever did.
Oh, if I hurt somebody? Yeah, sure. Well, knowing that I couldn't see, I knew I couldn't see. I just went to the doctor yesterday, and he told me I have severe macular degeneration, age-related, he said. I said, I don't like that age-related words. Because they all tell you, at your age. Well, what about it? There are people my age out riding bicycles and doing lots of things.
Good point.
If I could feel better, I would do it too.
I have a question for you about your daughter that was hearing impaired.
Mm-hmm.
Was that, what did you do as a mom to help her?
I took her to Sacramento Hearing Society, to classes. I went to classes. We had to, as a family, decide whether we were going to take up manual communications or oral, because if the child is lazy, they'll take the manual and not try to speak. And we didn't want that for our child. We wanted her to be as near normal as possible. And she was. She did well. But then she's also had the cochlear implant surgery about 6 years ago there in South Carolina and Charleston at the University Hospital. But one of them blew out. Excuse me. I'm going to have to take a drink here.
Mm-hmm. No problem. Fine. About 15 minutes.
Okay.
Just fine.
But, and one of them, she blew her nose and it separated, and there's nothing they can do. So they took it out, and she just has the one side. But I think she hears better from the one side, especially on the telephone, than she did before with the hearing aids.
Mm-hmm. So the cochlear implant. We have a really good friend. I have a really good friend who's deaf, and she had the cochlear implant. It worked very good for her.
Well, they say it's not so good for adults.
Yeah.
If they're going to have it, they should have it when they're young, because I guess the sound from the world around you really gets to them when they can hear it.
So it sounds like you guys really work together as a family.
Oh, we always
help.
did.
That's really good.
With us here. And my mother and father were in San Diego, and they came and we went, and his mother and father lived around the corner from us for a few years after my parents died. And we all worked together, that was for sure, because we wanted her to be able to survive in a hearing world.
That's wonderful.
And she did. She worked for the military most of her adult life in one capacity or another. She just got a promotion. Went for a job that pays more, and Lori is a senior, not a senior clerk, but a senior something or other with the County of San Luis Obispo in the environmental health field. They both turned out well and contribute to the community. Lori's been down there for, are we done?
No.
Oh.
No.
She's been down there a long time. And she's worked in the environmental health field ever since she graduated from college.
You've done a really good job. Been a good mom, it sounds like. Good husband. Good pair. Good team.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Thank you.
It's really nice.
We tried. And then my husband got cancer. And he wasn't to be with us forever, so I had to learn to live on my own and be, I went to the Sacramento Hearing Society and Sacramento Widow and Widowers Organization. There's several people in Rancho that belong.
Okay.
And do you live in Rancho?
We live
work.
at Watton 50.
Oh, okay.
We work downtown at the Sutter Hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we live at Watton 50. They live down Douglas.
I've been playing with them, and I shouldn't.
But Rancho Cordova is
To work.
It's where we know.
Yeah.
Rancho Cordova.
Yeah.
What did you discover about yourself when you lost your husband and had to be on?
That I was a needy person. I needed people around me, but I dealt with it for 14 years alone, and then I spent 2 years looking for a place to move to that was just a small apartment in a community like this, where they have, they feed you and they pamper you and put the weights on. But, and this was the place when I walked in, just said to me, this is it.
Seems like a wonderful place.
It is.
They're very welcoming to us.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got some referrals too.
We did.
A couple of people came up, but they're just not. Everybody doesn't participate here. Everybody does their own thing, and that's fine. You don't have to have 114 people at everything. I think there are right now. We have 114 people living here.
Well, they told us we had 10 or something there, and that we had a pretty good turnout.
You did that day.
So that was really
wasn't overwhelming, but it was better than a lot of this type of presentations. They do all kinds of presentations. I went down to one about sitting and standing, and they have exercise every morning, which, you know, you can participate or you don't have to. I think in their exercise they probably have 15 regulars and stragglers here and there. And then they have a walking group, but if you don't walk well, you can't walk.
Yeah.
I should do more exercise. I know I should, but it's just kind of hard to carry that tank around with me. But that's how I felt. I got set a bag of candy. There's a guy downstairs that moves my chair for me, and so I can sit with my walker. And so I bring candy, put it in this tin, take it down to him, and then he gives me back the tin when he's done. And he's an ambassador, and they just asked me to be an ambassador, but I haven't been able to make any of the meetings, so I don't know that I'm going to stick with it. But and like I said, I looked 2 years. I looked in Elk Grove. I looked and they weren't finished in that one down on between Zinfandel and Coloma Road, the one they were building there.
Oh yeah, they've got a new.
Yeah, it's been open a while now, but they weren't even finished, and I tried calling the number and to talk to them, and nobody ever answered. So, but I did spend 2 years looking before I settled here, and so many of them are dark, and the halls are narrow. You barely pass two walkers. Here we can race and still pass each other if you feel good.
Yeah, you can, huh? Have races.
Only thing we need is one more elevator somewhere, freight elevator for people moving people in, because they're in competition with us at that elevator, and it's kind of hard to carry stuff up those stairs at the end. Have you been to the stairs on the end of this building?
I haven't.
Yeah, there's stairs down there that are pretty narrow, and then there's stairs by the elevator that kind of curl down, and then there's the ones from the second floor to the first floor in the dining room area there.
Those are pretty easy.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that in particular you wanted to talk about today?
No, I think I've pretty much skirted everything. There's so much depth in everything we did, but I think I've kind of went over it. Love my kids, love my husband. Can't have everything. So, and life goes on with or without our participation.
Yeah, once we figure that out, we're a lot calmer about life, huh?
Yeah, it's the truth.
That's good. That's all good stuff. I like getting to know you because I love the way you've parented your family, and the way you've worked your family together, and you just had a great
if people would do that, the world would be a much better place.